A woeful Sunday for the Giants at MetLife Stadium as they fell to the Vikings 28-6 in Week 1 of the NFL season. WFAN host Danielle McCarten, she was in the building for the Giants home opener, and she joins me now. Danielle, how are you doing after what you witnessed at MetLife Stadium?
Oh man, I mean, I'm almost embarrassed to say that I saw that miserable performance from the Giants. Just a continuation from last year. It's the same old.
Yeah, feels very much, and you're starting seeing that and hearing that from Giants fans on social media. Feels like the same old Giants, feels like Week 18 of 2023. But Danielle, rough day for Big Blue all around. But let's start with Daniel Jones. He heard the Boo Birds at MetLife on Sunday. 2 picks for the starting quarterback. From what you saw from Jones, how do you evaluate his play, and how much of it was on him, or do you look at this as being on his supporting cast?
You know, I like sitting in the end zone, and that's where our seats were today. They were behind the goalpost, and I like seeing that for a number of reasons. The biggest probably being you could watch the play develop. You have the kind of the all the all view, the all 22 view from your seat, and we were in 101, second row 49 or something like that, and we saw the plays develop. And the number, and listen, I'm a Daniel Jones fan, but the number of wide receivers or pass catchers that he missed, just blatantly missed, was really astounding. There were guys standing stationary, showing their palms to him, and he still missed them. There was an edge rusher that was untouched. Like, how do you not check that and audible your line and coverages at the line to realize that guy's going to come right at you and sack you without being touched? So there was a lot to be desired from Daniel Jones today. He was missing, and not to mention the physical, missing receivers, wide open receivers, throwing it at their feet. I don't get it. But how much was he to blame? I was just saying, there's not one position group that stood out to me today that was like, okay, they did their job. Everybody across the board, head coach on down, maybe Graham Gano did his job, maybe. But other than that, it was just a dismal performance and a really disappointing performance for Daniel Jones for me, because I was looking forward to having him shut up the Boo Birds, and I might find myself becoming one of them, which is something I did not want for this season. But, I mean, going on Week 1, that's all I have to go on, and it wasn't good.
Yeah, no, it wasn't good. And as I said, the Boo Birds were out in full force at MetLife Stadium. And look, Danielle, we can dissect Daniel Jones, right? But the Giants defense, they also were not good at it. They let Jets, Panthers, and Niners cast off Sam Darnold come into MetLife Stadium and shred them apart. What was wrong from your vantage point with the Big Blue D today?
I mean, I guess, well, first of all, Sam Darnold got helped out by the officiating crew on that first touchdown. There was a defensive pass interference. The Giants got them in 3rd and 14, and it was a questionable, at best, defensive pass interference call that set them up for that touchdown. There was a face mask on Brian Burns, 3rd and 16, to set up the 3rd Minnesota touchdown. So he did get some help. But and from the referees and from the Giants, I mean, they didn't pressure the quarterback. You've got all of these defensive linemen, which was supposed to be the best, unit on this Giants team. Kayvon Thibodeau, first round pick number 5 2 Aprils ago. Brian Burns, 5 years, $141 million. Dexter Lawrence, 4 years, almost $90 million. And 1 sack to show for it today, a loss of 7 total yards. That's unacceptable. You have to be able to get pressure on an opposing quarterback in order to make up for the deficiencies elsewhere in that defense. And all of a sudden, the defensive line became a liability as well. And I saw the quote from Dexter Lawrence after the game. He didn't like the boos. Well, you know what? If you don't like the boos, then maybe you should start playing a little bit better, because that was a terrible performance by what was hyped up to be the best unit on the entire team. It was atrocious, abysmal, and you can't let Sam Darnold run you over and look like freaking Tom Brady out there. You just can't do it.
Nah, can't happen at all whatsoever. And for Dexter Lawrence, you're not going to do any winning by taking on the fans when they boo you for a terrible performance. We've seen that before in this town. That does not work at all. Now, after the game, Brian Daboll, he did take responsibility for the ugly performance, saying, quote, "It starts with me." So, Danielle, in your eyes, how much of this is on the head coach, or do you just view this as, look, a lack of talent on the field to get the job done, or players just simply not doing their job and getting it done?
I mean, it's all like cyclical, It feels like a big cycle to me. Like no, all of what you just said kind of looked like I had this image in my mind just now. How many millions of dollars are on that defensive line, and how many millions of dollars did one set? They had one sack to show for it. The quarterback play was not good. The defensive line play was not good. The coaching was with the play calling from Brian Daboll. That was the biggest thing I was looking forward to this season. I had just said to my dad, I was like, Daniel Jones excels when throws are pushed 20 yards downfield to either sideline, between the numbers and the sideline. And at that very moment, he hit Malik Neighbors for what was probably like, from our vantage point, probably about 18 yards, 19 yards. And that's Daniel Jones's bread and butter. So to not cater to the quarterback's, best asset, I mean, what are you doing? Like, that was why you took over to begin with. So, yeah, it does start from the head coach. There were 12 men in the huddle. I mean, there were all kinds of penalties, preventable penalties. And that goes for, the obedience and the discipline of this team that comes from the head coach on down. And to me, it was just a disappointing performance. I mean, he's got to do better. He knows Daniel Jones. He is the quarterback whisperer. We've seen it in Buffalo. I've talked to the DeVitos about it. And, there were chants, by the way, for Tommy Cutlets in the second quarter. I mean, this is going to be a terrible season if this continues on and the trajectory that it seems like it's going to be.
Yeah, it will be terrible. And if that already started in the second quarter, if things look bad next week, which we're going to get into in a second, then there'll be more chance for Tommy DeVito. They're just skipping over Drew Lock and going right to Tommy DeVito, which is crazy by the fans, but that's how bad it was on Sunday. So last thing for me, Danielle, looking ahead, right? The Giants, they're going to try to bounce back in week 2. They visit the Commanders. What are you looking for the G-men to clean up heading into their week 2 matchup against a division rival? And I feel like you might want to say everything, but are there some specific things that you could point to that you'd like to see the Giants clean up?
Yeah, you read my mind. The word is everything. Everything needs to be cleaned up. I want to see this defensive line, this multi-million-dollar defensive line, high draft capital invested defensive line, go out and get after the quarterback. I mean, a rookie quarterback, there should be no excuses there. That's, specifically number one, that's what I would like to see. I would like to see much improvement from the quarterback play from the Giants. I mean, plant that back foot in the ground and drive the ball downfield. It seemed like he was just not doing that. We got up and we left after the pick six. I mean, he put it right in the breadbasket of the Vikings defender. You can't do that, okay? To go and this hyped up opener and to not put a touchdown on the board in front of the 100 best players in Giants history. I know some of them were not all there, but most of them were. That's just embarrassing. The play calling needs to be better. The tempo needs to be better. Out of a timeout or a TV timeout, a turnover happened. That's unexcusable. 12 men in a huddle, unexcusable. In your home field, delay a game, inexcusable. So all of these things, I mean, it's a lot of different things. And I watched the Brian Daboll press conference after the game here on my TV in the living room when I got home, because we left at the end of the third quarter, like everybody did. And I didn't like Brian Daboll's press conference. Oh, we'll look at the tape. Oh, we'll look at the tape. I think that's a cop-out answer. And I've, again, been a supporter of Brian Daboll. I'm just not happy with his response to the poor performance across the board. His team looked woefully unprepared to play today. I'll put it that way.
Well, I think, simply put, when you look at the game, look at the fact that you left and other fans were leaving in the third quarter, it's hard to argue with that. And like you said, there's a lot that needs to be cleaned up for the Giants from now until when they play next week against the Commanders. We'll see if they're able to do it, but it was not a good day at MetLife Stadium if you were a fan of Big Blue. 28-6 loss to the Vikings. WFAN host Danielle McCarten, she was in the building. She left early. Danielle, I'm going to wish you good vibes to enjoy the rest of your evening after witnessing some rough football on Sunday. Appreciate the time.
Excellent.
Thank you so much.
And let me say one more thing.
Yes.
The amount of money that we paid to go watch this disaster today, I wish I can ask for a refund.
Unfortunately, the fans do not get a refund, win or lose. Unfortunate, but I understand why you want one. I do. Thank you, Danielle. Appreciate you.
Yeah, anytime, Dexter. Thank you.